I find this particular point in my life very challenging, if I'm very honest. Like, God, and I don't know if it's like, if it is perimenopause, and if it is, God damn. So I'm so sorry to all the other women who are also going through this because it's really fucked up. But I was
And
like,
like it's going to go on for 10 years. Is that what I'm to understand?
I guess
And
I
I'm only
don't.
40. Am I really having it or is there something else going on?
Hi, I'm Cheryl Medeiros.
And I'm Colleen Hungerford. And this is We're Doing This Right, right? Podcast for the whole woman, mind, body, soul, and business.
It's humor infused, as real as it gets, inspiring, and you'll walk away with real usable tools for life and business.
If you love what you're hearing, please share with a friend, subscribe so you'll never miss an episode, and rate and review whenever you listen.
So find your earbuds, lace up your walking shoes, or cozy up with a beverage of your choice. It's time to dig in.
Take two, ladies and ladies. This is
Ladies,
Cheryl
ladies.
Medeiros coming at you hot from San Luis Obispo County, California, here with my co-host Colleen Hungerford from Carmel, Indiana. How you doing
Yeah,
there? You doing it right?
not hot, not hot here. It's fucking cold. We have this like bizarre, you know what? Listen, you're not going to understand this because you live in California. And I didn't understand this before I moved out of California. But the amount of time and the amount of energy you spend talking about the weather when you live in states that have weather is insane. Literally last week, it was 70 degrees here. And today it was 19. It's 19. Like, that is not okay. It's just
Last
not
week it
okay.
was 30 and it's going to be 70 this week. So we're having some swings over here as well.
Yeah, it's wild. Anyway, so
Mood
you're
swings.
coming in hot, I'm coming in cold, but we're just doing it. I I think I said to my husband last night, like, I don't know if this is perimenopause or
Probably.
overwhelm or burnout or all of the above, but I am just like in this place right now where I messaged a friend of mine the other day. And I was like, I may have taken on too much stuff. And I don't ever say that. I was like, I may have taken on too much stuff. But you know what? We're just going to figure it out, right? And part of that is like putting in the systems and processes, which we know we love. And then also part of it is just reframing our attitude about things.
Oh my gosh, I would love to talk to you about a reframe.
Yeah, did you see how I tied
Oh,
that in so well there?
oh, yeah. Okay. Let me tell you why this is on my mind, Colleen.
Okay, let's do it.
This
Break it down.
morning, I woke up and I did the thing we're not supposed to do, which is go on social media first thing in the morning. Come
Yeah.
across this account of a previous podcast I'd been a guest on and realize
Like
she,
in 2023,
yeah, she
which
has,
is important to the story.
this is important. This was a while ago I was on this podcast. It was when I was launching Inspire Her. And wouldn't you know, she's got this business model that she launched in 2025. Very, very similar to our Inspire.
Very similar.
And so immediate reaction was rage and disbelief
Yeah.
and like all
Yeah.
the things. And it's like 6:15 a.m. I've not even drank my coffee yet. We've been dealing with shit as we do out here, literal shit because it rained last week, which means the goats were all over my patio. But
Oh my
also,
God.
like Alex threw his back out, then he got a cold.
Yes.
I am
Yes.
perimenopausal and like have all the things, and so it's just been a little bit grumpy. And he's like, how you doing today, babe?" And I'm like, "Well, first thing in the
Actually,
morning, look what I
not
just found." And
not
he like
good.
gets in the shower like it's nothing, and he gets out and like, do you just don't have any feelings about this or what? And by 7 a.m., I had decided I am going to take this as the compliment that it is.
Yep.
Our idea was beautiful and brilliant and good. And imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah.
And truly, the superpower of anything that I'm involved with that's mine or that's ours is us, like the
Right.
person, the people. And so all those things. So I decided by 7 a.m., between 6 and
Yeah.
7, I felt my feelings at 6. And at 7, I was like, it's a compliment. Let's move on.
Yeah.
It's what it is. I'm not going to waste time, energy. This is too finite a resource. This energy
Yeah.
to spend spiraling. But that is what brought me to the power of reframe because I feel fine. I feel fine now. I feel nothing
Good.
like I did at 6 a.m. The
Yeah.
rage
You
has
were pretty
passed.
pissed.
That like I've moved through all the stages and I'm at acceptance and like move on and use it as fuel.
Yeah. I think the key here is like to really, I think the key to like success and happiness is not that you're not feeling those feelings. It's the speed in which you can allow yourself to feel them and then get through it, right? Because you could have very well allowed this to ruin your whole day, your whole week, your whole month, whatever, and really gone with like a vengeance at this lady. Because we're like, all right, what are we going to do? Like, where legally, what rights do we have? Blah, blah, blah. And probably we don't have any, like, because we can't just, and it's
We don't
interesting because
own
we don't
ideas.
own ideas. We haven't trademarked anything yet. You
Don't
can't
say that on
trademark
here.
a group. I mean, it's all trademarked. Don't steal our ideas. Like, but you can't trademark a group. You know what I mean? Like women getting together as a group.
Yeah.
This was a similar situation, and I don't even know if we can talk about it, but maybe because not that many people listen. But like, there was somebody who had quote unquote trademarked or like registered for. Do you remember this with Allie?
Mm-hmm.
And it was
Mm-hmm.
a class. It was a
Mm.
class like how to buy a house class, and this woman had like trademarked it, and Allie it had was teaching, which many billion realtors across the country do a day. They teach a how to buy a first home class or how to buy a house class, or they do a seminar or whatever. And like this woman was sending cease and desist letters to people and sent one to Allie. And I don't know, like it's all fine, I suppose. I'm talking about it. It's not like, it's not like we're on the news or
There's
something,
no
but
active lawsuit happening that we know
there's
of.
no active lawsuit, right? And but what came up out of that was Allie is like, you can't trademark this
The
concept
of buying a house.
of buying a house. Like you just like you can't trade. Like, there's no, you don't own the words how to buy a house
First time
class.
home buyer.
Like so anyway, it kind of reminded me of that, like where you're irritated, like I'm sure, like it's so irritating, and then you're like, what the fuck, like we put so much time and energy in that, like all your time and energy and thought and work into it and everything. And then I guess my first reaction was like, okay, then we just need to market more. I
Yeah,
mean, we
use it
just
as
need to
fuel.
tell more. Yeah, we just need to tell more people about it. I'm sure her group is great. What we have to offer is great. And this really comes into this idea too of like, we talk about like collaboration over competition and like those types of things. like those things are great to say, but in reality, it's hard, right? Like, because immediately that is somebody that we are quote unquote competing against. But there's room for everybody at the table. We always say that. And we always say, like, and we know somebody is going to pick us versus them for different reasons. And that's all fine. But it doesn't mean sometimes you don't feel those feelings, right? It
And
doesn't feel
like live in the integrity. This was my wish, is live in the integrity of like, this is a great idea. I'd love to collaborate with you on it. Or like, FYI, I'm going to do my own spinoff on this. Like, have the difficult conversation up front so that someone doesn't like
right,
come across this and have a yucky taste in their mouth. But
right.
at the end of the day, like, not worth the energy. And really, it's just fuel for like, okay, yes, our idea is good, and like, let's use it. And let's think about like, okay, we're real estate agents. We work against a gazillion competitors in real estate because there's a
Yeah,
gazillion licensed agents, and like, we just all have to differentiate. We all just have to
right,
like, and also like, I just want to work with people that want to work with me. I'm not trying to work with everybody.
right,
I want to work with the
right,
right kind of clients.
right.
And so but it is like, it can be, it can be really hard feelings to get past. And like
Yeah,
the power of like the mind shift is really, really valuable. I love reframing. I think that it is a super powerful tool. I have like actively practiced it, like consciously practiced it since my mid 20s. I had really good
yeah,
therapists that we like developed this practice to the point where like I can now reframe without much thought, but it's like anything, it's practice. You
right.
practice a skill and you get better at the skill. And there's my thoughts. Thank you for coming to our 8-minute podcast.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of this is also like, I see a lot of stuff about like, regulation and regulating ourselves and regulate, like emotional regulation and things like that. And I think there's, I've been noticing for myself recently, and I don't know if this is just always how I've been or if it's heightened because of life and stress or whatever, but like I feel like all of a sudden I've become like a very like a like an empath to like a higher degree. I've always been very empathetic about people and their experiences, but like now I'm other people's emotions and moods affect me a lot more, and it's making my life more challenging, which is really like hard. Like if David has a bad day at work and he comes home and then he's grumpy at home, like I find myself being very like on edge. Or if like the kids are having a bad day, like I want to try to help them, like, and it's not, and sometimes it's like they just need to work through their own feelings. And literally 90% of the time, it's not about me at all, but it feels that way. Right. And then it comes into my client, like with working with my clients, like when my client is like unhappy about the buyers, like I'm a seller and they're unhappy about how the buyers are going, that's not my fault, right? Like, but as somebody who cares, I'm like, okay, well, let me figure out how I can help and smooth over this situation. But to be very honest, it's costing me a lot of my own mental health, like feeling really stressed out about how everybody's feeling. And I don't know if that's just like a perimenopause thing, a mom thing, a guilt thing, a something, but figuring out how to reframe that to be like, okay, yes, they're annoyed that during the inspection they brought the guy to measure the carpet. I don't think that's a big deal. That's a very normal thing that happens. These people felt like it was not okay.
It's
How
their
do I,
time to investigate the property. If that is what they need to investigate, then by all means, come measure the carpet.
right. So, but they didn't feel like it was, they wanted to, anyway. So, but like their feelings about that can't be my feelings about that. And I think anytime you're in these kind of like service-based industries, it's really hard when you care, right, to not take on all of those feelings and all of those emotions. And so it's like trying to, even for myself, like reframe how I'm approaching these situations and how and how I'm communicating with my clients. And because ultimately what it comes down to is I really care. Like I really want my clients to have a good experience. I want the deal to be smooth for everybody. I want it all to be great. But the reality is that just sometimes it's not. And there's not always something that I can do to manage everybody's feelings. But
Well, and at the end
that's
of the
just
day,
hard.
yours are the only feelings you can actually manage. You're the only
Yeah.
one you have control of. We can help others reframe. We can
Yeah.
show each other. We can show somebody else like consider it from this perspective. Or I've had a situation where like this is like we might be able to help guide
Right.
them and normalize things. I'm seeing that a lot. My parents are selling their house right now. They're in contract and like I'm managing a lot of the questions and conversations with them and like having to set those expectations. And it's easy for me to be just so blunt with my parents because they're my
Yeah.
parents. But like also I'm just really learning the value of those types of conversations just in general with anybody. And also how much I think we've talked about this before. How many of these situations that could cause an emotional reaction from someone that could be affected by having a conversation on the front end about these are things that may happen as
Yeah.
we move through this process. And then
Yeah.
also, if I was representing a buyer in this scenario, I would do X, Y, and Z. So we as
Right.
sellers should be expecting that they're going to do X, Y, and Z because that's
Right.
what any good agent would be doing for their client.
Right.
Also setting, I do this in our intake meeting, but like as a seller, you can control this. As an agent, I can control this. Here are
Right.
things that nobody has control over. So like as we walk into this transaction, we need to keep these things in mind about who's in control of what. Like we don't control the interest rates. We don't control the economy. We don't
Right.
control what's happening with tariffs. Like we have no control over any of those things. So if that is what's affecting what's happening in this process, and we talked about that on the front end,
Right.
hopefully you're prepared and I can remind you, remember when we talked about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing I've started to do more and more is just, and you will love this and Susie will love this, is just like just creating more systems, right? Like I know now, like with a particular deal that I'm working on, that they are feeling like they're getting screwed. And we just did the inspection. So I just wrote an email and now I'm using, now that's like a template. It's like, okay, we just had the inspection. Here's what to expect after. These are all conversations I usually have, but I'm also putting them in emails, right? So that they can read what I have to say, but also and hear what I have to say. And I think those things are important also, is like putting it all in writing, like here's what we can expect. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what could happen. Here's some other options of what might be happening, what might be happening next. Um, but I think the more those systems go in place, it like takes the emotion out for everybody, right? It takes
Mhm.
the emotion out for me. It takes the emotion out for, I think it's still going to always be emotional, but like that's also a way to like reframe some stuff, is to be able to like, okay, like let me take my personal feelings and emotions out of this. Let's put it in an email. Let's read the email, then let's send it off. Or just having like standard processes for dealing with these types of things so that it's not like a huge issue all the time.
Yeah, preparing someone before about what happens next. They're gonna
Hmm.
like I'm representing the seller. Okay, buyers are gonna do an inspection. After the buyers do an inspection, they're likely gonna have a request for repair. Even if your house is perfect, they're still trying to get
Right.
the house for the least amount of money with the most amount of concessions. That is their job. So just
Right.
like almost like knowing that on the front end and then preparing them with your options from here will be to accept, counter, or decline. And then
Right.
we move forward. And like putting that up front does kind of remove like that it's not personal. It becomes not personal. This is what
Yes.
happens in every transaction. This is not unique to your
Right.
situation. This is what we would expect. If I was representing you buying a property, we would do the exact same thing, maybe more aggressively. So,
Right.
like just keeping that in mind. That's why I really do like working with buyers and sellers at the same time, because I do
Yeah.
feel like they have a unique perspective because they're doing the same thing on the other end at the
Right.
same
We're
time.
going to do the same thing to the next person coming through. We're doing
Exactly.
that.
So they,
That's
yep,
exactly what's happening.
they've got
Yeah.
like the mindset of, okay, well, we would hope this happens on the other end. Now we can't control how anybody negotiates, and we just have to have those conversations as well. And
Yeah.
like, and then as an agent, our job too is to like, okay, be emotional about this, sleep on it, but like tomorrow let's discuss, like, is this worth losing this deal over or not? Like, how much do you want this house? Let me bring you back to like a business decision now. Is this the right move or is this not the right move? So helping them kind of reframe. One of the things the
Well,
robot says is like a reframe doesn't deny reality. It just changes how we're relating to the reality. I think that's a really
yes.
interesting. way to
It's
look at
also
it.
just like looking at it from a different viewpoint. I always say that to like my husband. I'm always just like, okay, well, let's look at this from like a different viewpoint, like a different way of looking at this, like a different, like, okay, this could be really a really shitty situation. But, and I think there's a difference between this because then people will be like, oh, there's like toxic positivity. And that's not the same thing, right? I think
Mm-mm.
it's just always like, okay, I don't know. I can't even think of a for instance, like, this situation happened and it was really shitty. Well, what did that open the door for? Okay, so how do we look at this in a different way? Or how can we take this situation and be like, okay, well, I don't know, like you didn't get that job. So, but look at the doors that it could open for these other opportunities. Or what did you learn during that situation? And, or like, let's look at it from a different viewpoint. And he's sometimes like, shut up.
You- Usually that's my husband's reaction.
He's like, okay. He would never say shut up to me. That's not a nice thing. He would never say that to me. And he would be very mad if he heard me say that, but I'm sure that's what he's thinking in his head.
Right. That's what's being
Um,
said internally. That's what his
yeah.
eyes are saying.
He's
Shut
like, shut up. I hate you. You're the worst. Oh my
Marriage is
God.
so
But
fun.
yeah, and marriage is really fun. But I think like I love this idea and I'm really working through. I've never had a really like I don't want to say like I never had a struggle. There's lots of struggle in my life, but I find this particular point in my life very challenging, if I'm very honest. Like, God, and I don't know if it's like if it is perimenopause, and if it is, God damn. I'm so sorry to all the other women who are also going through this because it's really fucked up. But I was
And
like,
like it's going to go on for 10 years. Is that what I'm to understand?
I guess
And
I
I'm only
don't
40. Am I really having it or is there something else going on?
I don't know. And that's the other thing so we have a guest coming up soon and I was talking to her and I was like pre-show interviewing her today and she's all like a midlife. I don't actually know if she's a physician, but medical person. And she does like telehealth for menopause and perimenopause and women in their midlife and helping them. And I was like, how can everything just be perimenopause?
It's literally
Like
the answer to everything.
And and then I see this now, and this is like maybe controversial, maybe not. I'm not sure, but like you see a lot of women who are our age who are like now discovering they have ADHD or thinking they have ADHD. And I'm like, do you? Or is this hormones? Or is this perimenopause? Or is it
Or is this our
like,
fast moving world where like
is,
used to 7-second clips and now we can't function anymore? But I think it's different. It's not like that I can't keep attention on something.
yeah,
But what I am seeing a lot of is it's saying that like women with ADHD get hit with perimenopause earlier and more severe. And I'm like, well, that tracks if that's what I have,
if that's what
but
it is. Yeah.
do I
But
want
I
to go
also
out?
think like I have a theory,
Tell
and
me.
I'm not a doctor,
You're not?
but
You've been giving
it
out all
should,
this medical advice for
should
years.
be. It should be. I feel like it should be. But I think women who are mothers in particular have this ADHD feeling because you never get to complete a full cycle of action, especially as a parent, right? Like you're like, oh, my baby needs a diaper change. Okay, well, one, I haven't slept in fucking ever. Okay, so there's that. So your brain's not fully functioning. Two, as you go to take the baby to get the diaper, you walk over 47 million toys of something, right? And then like the dog has puked on the ground. And then like, the laundry, you go to get the like clean clothes, but there's not clean, whatever it is, right? So you're constantly getting pulled in these different directions, but you never get to finish the one thing that you wanted to do, which was just change the fucking diaper, right?
Hmm.
And then once you change the diaper, then you take the dirty clothes and you go over to the laundry and you're like, well, while I'm here, I guess I'll just do a bunch of laundry. But what you were doing before the baby started pooping was you were making dinner, but you never get to finish these different cycles of action because there's too much expectation and too many things and not enough help, not enough like community and tribe to help us, and we were never supposed to be doing all this shit by ourselves. Like I don't think we were ever supposed to. So then you just get fucked, like,
Yeah.
right?
Moral of the story is we're fucked. What do we do?
That's it for this week. Come back next week for part 2.
That's a wrap. Thank you for joining us on this journey of laughter, life, and growth.
And remember, you're not alone on this path to success. We're right here with you every step of the way.
Please remember to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's conversation, we'd be thrilled if you would leave us a review on your favorite platform. Your feedback means the world to us.
And don't forget to share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who could use a good laugh and some practical insight into navigating the challenges and triumphs of our minds, body, soul, and business.
Remember, we're doing this right.